It's Don here from the board. This is not a mechanical keyboard related video, but of course if you're interested in those you can check out my other channel. This is actually a video primarily for the people for Fountain Pens Australia. A couple of weeks back I shared a link to a stationery organizer that was on sale from Banggood. The sale price, including shipping and GST, hello Ariete, came out to be $16.49 US. Now this is quite a substantial package. I didn't realize how heavy it was going to be, but it weighs almost a kilo. It's 994 grams. Of course, me doing that has caused the camera to go out of focus, so 994 grams there. It came pretty quick, so it was obviously Australian stock. It was not, something I was waiting weeks and weeks and weeks for. I thought I'd do this video just to show what the package looks like, the quality of the actual construction, and hopefully it should be a quick put together. Of course, you can skip through while I'm assembling it. Now, the reason why I bought this is less so much for me as a use for storing my pens and stationery as an adult. I quite have a limited space here on my desktop for that, but more so for my daughter to use, because she has all her pens and pencils and crayons and markers, but they're in a tub. And I feel like them being in a tub actually restricts her desire to use them and draw and color and stuff like that, because she's got to take out the tub and open the lid and rummage through it to find the pens. Whereas putting them out in a holder like this is probably going to potentially encourage her to do more drawing and getting creative, because they're right there and available. So we'll see how it goes and if this is going to be actually holding up to the abuse of a small child in the long run. So standard black plastic. I had to go out to Fastways, now known as Aramax, to pick it up because I wasn't home for it. And yeah, very busy. Whoa, okay, so it's a very distinctly Chinese package. No major distinction. There's a SKU mark down here. I don't actually read Chinese, so I can't tell you what it says, if it even says what the product is. But we'll see if it's what it's meant to be very, very shortly. How have they packaged this? Oh, there we go. Okay, so it's bubble wrapped, which is nice. And as expected, it's a whole bunch of flat pack. Nothing else is in the box. Pretty clear. Alright, so it's nice that it's got instructions and some kind of card. I can see there's a QR code here for something or other. I'm not quite sure what you would need the QR code. Can't imagine you would need to register this. So a bit of extra packaging to hold it together. Well, at least they certainly gave it the best chance of it arriving to its new destinations undamaged. Okay. Let's just chop the end off that. Rightio. So, here is our instructions. So there should be 10 distinct types of pieces from what I can tell. So there we go. So there's some different pieces, and then it shows the order of construction. And then there's a little bunny, which looks like the bunny is a phone holder, which is actually pretty funny. So there's the bunny phone holder. Now the material is compressed fibroboard. So if you're not familiar with it, it's pretty common stuff for cheapish type of furniture. It's not quite MDF. MDF, which is more a particulate, is larger and chunkier, whereas this is sort of the finer stuff. But even as I try and flex that bunny, it's pretty stiff. So I'm pretty happy with how firm that should turn out. Now the actual product comes in a couple of different colors, and I just clicked buy without realizing what option I had, and it was black, but it doesn't really matter what color it is. I guess at least on the black, if my daughter decides to draw on it, like she does with our kitchen cupboard walls and our dining table, it probably won't be an issue. Oh, cool. I like the fact that it comes with a little mini screwdriver. That's pretty cool. So there's the knob for the drawer and a bunch of screws. I think that should be the phone holder. I think it must go that way. Alrighty, so let's just put that aside. Now, I'm just wondering, because when I do my mechanical keyboard videos, often I'll do like a time lapse as well. But this one I think should be okay. It shouldn't be too arduous, I hope. Okay, so this is the bottom of the drawer. This is the bottom of the drawer, piece number 4. And then we've got, this is the base of the drawer. This has some slots, so this is going to be piece number 7, which is the first drawer level. That's going to be piece number 10, which is the internal slots. There's some, that must be piece number 1. That's 9, number 1, 10 and 10, and then 8 and 8. Okay, so what I really want to do is I want to make the drawer first, as per the instructions. So we will put 2's at the back, 3 has got the handle at the front, and the screw holes are at the top. So then we want to put that into there, and that into there, and that into there. So the slots are actually for the screws, which is really interesting. I don't think I've ever come across a design like that, but it's my parts tray that I have. It's a little sauce dish, but I find it really useful for holding things like screws and small objects. Now this is obviously to go with the screw, so I'm going to make sure with the handle, I'll just put that in so I don't lose that, and yeah, it's a good fit. Okay, so let's do the front one first. It's a little bit clumsy, I kind of feel. It doesn't lock in and it doesn't really hold it very well, so hopefully when you actually end up, so the driver is actually very small, and if anything I'm going to upgrade to a slightly bigger one so I have better grip on it. Does that actually hold? Amazing, it does. So it's such a simple sort of slotted design. The screw is just big enough that it's cutting into the width of that slot that they've done. Now, it's firm, but I wouldn't stress it too hard, just because I'd be kind of concerned that you might sort of strip it out. So let's just find an even surface. Just give that a little bit of a bite, and let's go with the other one. Try and do that within view. There we go. Okay, so I've got the 2 walls up, and then what I want to do is I want to slot the base in. There's no difference between the top and bottom. Is it going to fit? Just going to try it on the other side. So it will actually probably take a bit of force to get that in. Maybe I should have, oh no, there we go. Should have put these in. Yeah, it's probably safer to put them in first, because then you might end up damaging the screws otherwise, but that's okay. And this is why I do this, so that you won't make the mistakes that I make. They're an okay fit. You gotta give them a bit of a nudge. All right. And I can actually see that there's some marks there against the MDF or the fibro board where the screw is actually biting. So it's a very, very lightweight tolerance. I would say definitely don't over tighten, because you will run the risk of stripping those bits of timber that they've got using for this. Okay, so the right orientation is obviously going to slot into all three. There you go, just like that. Tiny, tiny drawers. Now, if you have an electric screwdriver, this would probably be faster, but ooh, I just heard a little bit of a crack there. So, and that wasn't even tighten it very tight at all, or very hard. Okay, so the drawer is kind of built. Okay, so this is, it's a little bit I'm just gonna loosen up the front there, because what you see here is, see how that angle, that tab, these front pieces didn't go in perfectly, and I'm gonna see if I can, not terribly happy with how flush or not flush they're sitting. I'm just gonna undo these front pieces. Call me a bit of a perfectionist maybe, but that's why reviewing stuff is very important, because you kind of want to make sure that you give it a good look through. Okay, can I get these to sit flush or not? Okay, maybe if I turn around it'll sit a bit better. No, I cannot. So it looks like it's going to be angled. It looks like it's going to be angled, which is a little bit unfortunate. I think the cuts on the side pieces just weren't deep enough. They weren't notched enough to allow this front panel to sit flush. Hopefully my unscrewing and rescrewing of this is also not going to weaken the actual screw grip on this either. Okay, so the drawer for most part, and then let's put the actual bejeweled knob on the front. There we go. I think my daughter will love having this tiny little jeweled handle on the front. She's very much into horses and unicorns and fairies and princesses and all of that jazz right now. Okay, so there's the drawer done. Right, so the next piece is the 6-slotted base, which is vertical, which is this one, and I need the slots to be facing that way correctly, and number 5, which is this with the empty bottom. I want that to be fitted like that, and we're going to be putting screws into the back here. Now, to help me with that, I think I'm going to make use of the drawer. There we go, and then I'll hold it up, and then I can drop in the screws. Okay, so those are done. Now I want piece number 7, which I believe we identified was this one. It's a little bit timber dusty there, but from probably particle and cut. Okay, so I need it to be slots towards the back, just like that. And once again, we'll we'll make use of the drawer. Maybe. Actually, since the back is there, that should be okay to hold itself. There we go. Put 2 in. Okay, so piece 7 is in, and that'll be for obviously housing the drawer once the sides go in. So we need the 2 middle pieces, which is piece 8, and they'll be slotted vertically, held in with 1 screw, so they slot into the bottom hole and then into the back hole. So we'll get that lined up. There's only 1 screw hole at the top. I think it's good diagrammatically at least. Okay, so that didn't work so well. My screw has actually gone sideways. Which is a bit of an issue. The starting angle was obviously too far over. So because it's relying on your hand control, I'd pushed too far on one side. And so the screw was actually entering and exiting at too extreme an angle. Now that I'm correcting it, there we go, much better. Okay, it's still kind of coming out a little bit on the side, so you can see how the screws sort of protruding there. It's okay, it's tolerable, not fantastic. Okay, so this one hopefully will... I feel like if they wanted to improve this design... Yes, Ariete? Oh, you've got a black stick. What are you going to do with that stick? You're going to use it as a walking stick. I feel like if they wanted to improve this design, it would just be really easy to put in a nut and just glue it into those slots, and then that way you wouldn't have to worry about self-threading screws. You would just put bolts into it. And this is something that's actually done really commonly in, say, like laser cut type of designs. So for, at least, you know, in our keyboard designs, in our keyboard community, when people create stuff that they want to have interlocking parts, then they'll actually just make a slot that they can put in, drop in a nut, and then run a bolt rather than threaded screws. Yes, Ariete? Daddy's making this so you can put your pens in it.
What?
Yeah, and then that way it'll be really easy for you to be able to get your pens out and you can do more drawing. You like drawing?
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, hopefully this will help it be a little bit more easier for you.
My hair's so sweaty on the back.
Your hair's scratchy.
No, my head's sweaty.
Your head's sweaty. Well, it's because it's hot. It's summer. Okay. You can see footprint-wise, it's not actually too big. which I think is really good. It's quite a compact kind of shelf, I suppose, if you want to call it that. I'm going to say that as far as simple designs go, it's okay. I just think that if they'd chosen their hardware a little bit better and whatnot, having different types of screw tops, or if because I don't know if these were laser cut and machine cut, if they had countersunk them as well, maybe, or using just flat caps, it'd probably look nicer. It is for you once it's done. Yeah. Daddy's just putting it together.
Okay. Well, this black stick should be my shoe.
Okay. Let's just dust that off. I'll have to give it a wipe down once I've finished as well. It's just dust from cutting and milling more than anything else.
It's for me.
It is for you. That's right. Daddy would have given this to you for Christmas, except for the fact that we weren't home when the postman came, and so Daddy had to go and pick it up today.
Why?
Yeah, because we went out and we weren't home.
But you were out, and Mommy and me was inside home.
No, we were all out when this was meant to be delivered, and then it was the holiday, so nobody was working and delivering.
But you was outside not working. You got this.
Daddy had to go out to get this from the depot.
Depot.
Yeah, the depot.
What's this?
That's the instructions on how to build it.
Why?
Why? Well, because Daddy wants to make sure he builds it correctly.
Like instructions.
Yeah, instructions.
Well, why you do that?
Well, that's how you put it together. Okay, so we've got some extra screws. Did I miss some screws? I don't feel like I've missed any screws, but they've got 3 extra screws here. So we've got 3 slotted pieces, and there'll be just gonna take that off. There's one. There's 2. And then there's 3. Come on. Get in there. There you go. Done. So this is what I'm talking about, that the build and the design thought. You've got a bit of exposed screws down here, which is not great because you'll potentially scratch stuff. You've got exposed screws there, you know, like along the actual back here. So if you're going to be using this for expensive stuff, you probably want to make sure that you cover them up, maybe just line it with something. In terms of space and fit, you know, it's not massive, but we're looking, you know, 21 centimeters in width roughly, and the height of it is, we're looking at about almost 26 centimeters in terms of its height. The depth of the profile is, the actual case itself is just 15.5, but then with the actual handle you're looking at about 17, just under 17. Okay, so the drawer, pretty simple, but how about fitting some pens? So I've just got some, so here's a Jinhao, so you can see how much it sticks out on that. We've got a Noodler's Conrad, there's a Lamy All-Star, here's a Lamy Joy, What else have I got here? Here's a Pilot, whatever they call them, Pilot Parallel. Here's a Kawaii Sport in brass. Here's another one. So you can kind of see that it does give you a good sort of depth to that. Now if I'm just going to hold my hands there so you can kind of see the angle that they stick out at, it's definitely useful, I guess, in that if you have a lot of pens. That's your horsey. Oh, okay. So, you know, I think it works really well. It's actually quite reasonable. Probably good for putting your beater pens in, and other supplies and whatnot. But my only concern obviously is those screws, that if you're going to be scratching up anything expensive, thus if you're a little bit handy, what you could do, noting that you can take out these middle drawers, is you can actually, well, not drawers, but the slots, right? They just pull straight out. So what I would recommend is you could pull out these 3 slots, lie it down flat and liner it, right? And then you can put these back in, and you can also cover this with, like, you know, a felt or a corduroy or something of that nature, just to give it a bit of a buffer and give a bit more protection if you do want to put nicer things into it. But other than that, I think for, well, $16.50 US, which is roughly about $21 or thereabouts, I think. I think it's actually not too bad. Oh, yeah, you've got yourself a riding horse, do you? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully you found this video really informative. And of course, if you do actually want to check it out yourself and maybe get one, there is going to be a link below. I do, of course, want to make a full disclosure that the link is an affiliate link to my Banggood account, but that's not the reason why I got this. It's really because of for her. But certainly would be of benefit to me if you did want to go through and check it out and felt like getting one for yourself. So there you go. There is a stationary drawer suitable for all sorts of things. Yeah, for you. Daddy has to wipe it down and clean it, okay? And then we can put your pens in it. All right? All right. Well, thanks for checking out the video, and yeah, happy riding.